Chapter 1, verse 5.
It is you we worship, and you we ask for help.
When one follows this verse in the correct order, then they will receive the help and mercy of Allah, the Exalted, in both worlds. In a divine narration of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, found in Sahih Baqarah, number 6502, Allah, the Exalted, declares that a Muslim can only draw close to him through fulfilling their obligatory duties, and they can achieve the love of Allah, the Exalted, through voluntary righteous deeds. This description splits the servants of Allah, the Exalted, into two categories. The first group draws near to Allah, the Exalted, by fulfilling their obligatory duties in respect to Allah, the Exalted, such as the obligatory prayer, and in respect to people, such as the obligatory charity. This can be summed up by fulfilling the commands of Allah, the Exalted, refraining from His prohibitions and being patient with destiny. The second category of those who are brought near to Allah, the Exalted, are superior to the first group, as they not only fulfill their obligatory duties but strive in voluntary righteous deeds. This clearly shows that this is the only path to the proximity of Allah, the Exalted. Whoever takes a path other than this will not achieve this vital goal. This completely rejects the concept of obtaining sainthood without striving in obedience to Allah, the Exalted. The person who claims this is simply a liar. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has confirmed in a narration found in Sahih Muslim, number 4094, that when the spiritual heart is pure, the rest of the body becomes pure. This leads to righteous deeds. So if a person does not perform righteous deeds, such as their obligatory duties, then their body is impure, which means their spiritual heart is impure as well. This person can never reach the proximity of Allah, the Exalted. It is important to note, the greatest voluntary righteous deeds one can perform are those based on the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Anyone who chooses to perform voluntary righteous deeds not based on his traditions, has been fooled by the devil, as no path will take one close to Allah, the Exalted, except the path and actions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Chapter 3, Ali Imran, verse 31.
Say, O Muhammad, if you should love Allah, then follow me. So Allah will love you and forgive you your sins. And Allah is forgiving and merciful.
The pious Muslims who belong in the second higher group are also those who avoid unnecessary things of this material world. This attitude aids them in focusing their efforts on performing voluntary righteous deeds. It is this group who have perfected their faith by loving, hating, giving and withholding all for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. This has been advised in a narration found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4681. The next thing mentioned in the main narration under discussion is that when one strives in fulfilling the obligatory duties and performing voluntary righteous deeds, Allah, the Exalted, blesses their five senses so that they use them in obedience to Him. This righteous servant will very rarely commit sins. This increase in guidance has been indicated in chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 69.
And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways.
This Muslim reaches the level of excellence which has been discussed in a narration found in Sahih Muslim, number 99. This is when a Muslim performs actions, such as the prayer, as if they observe Allah, the Exalted. The one who reaches this level will guard their mind and body from sins. This is the one who, when they speak for Allah, the Exalted. When they are silent for Allah, the Exalted. When they act for Him, and when they are still, they are for His sake. This is an aspect of monotheism and understanding the oneness of Allah, the Exalted. The next thing mentioned in the main narration under discussion is that this Muslim's supplication will be fulfilled and they will be granted the refuge and protection of Allah, the Exalted. This is a clear lesson for those who desire lawful worldly things. They should not seek to obtain them using any means except through the sincere obedience of Allah, the Exalted. No spiritual teacher or anyone else will be able to grant things to a person unless the person strives in the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, and they are destined to obtain those things. To conclude, this hadith makes it clear that the proximity of Allah, the Exalted, is only gained through sincere obedience to him in the form of fulfilling his commands, refraining from his prohibitions and being patient with destiny. This is the path of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the only path of success in both worlds. In addition, one of the wisdoms behind this verse using the word you instead of the name of Allah, the Exalted, is to remind Muslims that He is always close to them. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 186.
And when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them respond to me by obedience, and believe in me that they may be rightly guided.
In a long divine narration found in Sahih Bukhari, number 7405, Allah, the Exalted, advises that He is with anyone who remembers Him. With the rise of mental problems and disorders, such as depression, it is vital for Muslims to understand the importance of this declaration. There is a small chance of a person experiencing a mental issue when they are constantly surrounded and aided by someone that truly loves them. If this is true for a person, it is undoubtedly more befitting for Allah, the Exalted, who has promised to be with the one who remembers Him. Acting on this declaration alone would eliminate all mental issues, such as depression. It is the reason why being secluded from others or being amongst others did not affect the mental state of the righteous predecessors, as they were always in the company of Allah, the Exalted. It is obvious that when one obtains the company of Allah, the Exalted, they will overcome all obstacles and difficulties successfully until they reach His proximity in the hereafter. In addition, out of His infinite mercy, Allah, the Exalted, has not restricted this declaration in any way. For example, He did not declare He was only with the righteous or with those who perform specific good deeds. He in fact encompassed every Muslim irrespective of the strength of their faith or how many sins they have committed. So a Muslim should never lose hope in the mercy of Allah, the Exalted. But it is important to note the condition mentioned in this hadith, namely, to remember Allah, the Exalted. This is not only remembering Him with one's tongue, but more importantly it is to remember Him through one's actions. This is only achieved by fulfilling the commands of Allah, the Exalted, refraining from His prohibitions, and by facing destiny with patience. This is the true remembrance of Allah, the Exalted. The one who behaves in such a manner will be blessed with the company and support of Allah, the Exalted. Simply put, the more one obeys Allah, the Exalted, the more they will receive His company. What one gives is what they shall receive.